Welcome to another edition of the Basketball Teacher Podcast. Our mission is to bring you discussions on a wide array of topics in the coaching world to grow players on and off the court. You can connect with us on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter, and also reach us directly through email at basketballteacherpodcast@gmail.com. Now, here's your host, Coach Mike Hernandez.
Welcome back, everyone. Thank you guys so much for joining us here for another episode, wherever in the world you're listening to us from, whatever platform you guys are listening to us on. As I say every episode, thank you guys so much for the support, kind messages, the questions, the emails, the tweets, all that great stuff that you've been sending my way. Keep that going, keep that coming. Look forward to hearing to all of you guys. And as you all know, those of you who've been listening for a while, I love to talk about culture, and I love to talk about coaches, or talk to coaches rather, who are really passionate about culture, about program building, about teaching and coaching the game the right way, and doing all those things that kind of go beyond basketball. Obviously, I love talking X's and O's, and I've talked to plenty of guests about that. But the culture piece in particular is something I'm so passionate about and love, like I said, talking to coaches who share that same passion. And I'm very happy to have a guest on who is willing to come on and talk about culture in their own unique way. Today's episode is going to be about the earn everything culture. So we're going to talk about what that looks like, what that means, how it got built in my guest program, and maybe some ideas for you guys who are listening about how to kind of take some parts of that and build it into your program as well. So we're going to jump right into it with my guest. He's a basketball coach. He's a trainer, and he also describes himself, which I'm going to ask about, as a community activist and leader. A busy man. Very happy he's here joining us today. Coach Kory Edwards is here on the show. Coach, thanks again for joining us. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me.
Awesome, Coach. Absolutely. Let's start with your journey with basketball, the game of basketball. Where has that game taken you? Where is your coaching journey taken you? And where is it that you're kind of at right now with your career?
The basketball, I started playing about 6 years old. Just normal kid, just going to the park and everything, just playing basketball. I didn't really take it serious till about sixth grade. I played for my middle school, and then when I went to high school, obviously I played, but I only played 2 years. I played my junior and senior year because I was a kid. I was a trouble kid. Like I was a knucklehead basically.
Yeah.
So I was the class clown. I failed in high school my freshman year, so I wasn't eligible to play the next year, and then I didn't get all the credits I needed to play my sophomore year, so I was able to play going into my junior and senior year. But just just being a part of basketball, whether it's being a player or coach, it has brought me many opportunities. I got a chance to meet plenty of great coaches, plenty of great people, parents, players, spectators, reporters, photographers, the whole nine yards, councilmen, some people that are some city mayors. So I just ran into a lot of people that I was able to connect with a lot of people. So right now my journey is I've been coaching for 7 years. I first started off at my alma mater, Lincoln High School in Jersey City. Then I was there for 3 years. Then I went on to a prep school called Vision Academy that was based out of Brooklyn, New York, Williamsburg, that's where I'll say my name actually blew up. And I got my name and everything behind me. Being at that school, I've played against Oak Hill Academy.
Okay.
I played Spire's Academy's post-grad team. I actually beat them. That was their first loss in about 2 or 3 years. I played against Prolific Prep, Link Academy, Sunrise Christian's post-grad. So I've been in that prep school that I was in for 2 years, helped me network and get a bigger base behind myself as a coach. So that right there just took off. A lot of coaches start reaching out to me, basically asking me, what am I playing? Like, what do I plan on doing? I had a few job opportunities in different states, Atlanta, North Carolina, Massachusetts. but it was hard for me to just up and leave because I am a father and I didn't.
Yeah.
It would be hard for me just to make that move,
Right.
regardless of how much money they offered or how good everything sounds. You still have to make the best decision for you and your family. So I
Mm-hmm.
didn't want to just up and leave because I wouldn't have been able to take my children with me. It would have just been me. So I just declined those options. I said maybe in a few years or like 2 or 3 years, I can do that where I know everything. And as we spoke before, I just finished here at Snyder High School in Jersey City. We finished 19-11. We lost in the semifinals of the county championship, the county tournament, and in the state tournament, we lost in the sectional championship to Colonial. And it's just been amazing just being a coach,
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah. I mean that's incredible. So you've had some experiences with, some big time programs being up against them. You said Oak Hill Academy. That's and some of
Yes,
these other ones. That's big time. That really gets your name out there. You have those experiences.
yes.
Awesome. You talked about, and I said I was going to ask you about too, and mention about how your description as a community activist and a leader. And I wanted to ask you specifically about what is some of the work that you do in the community to start with? In what ways are you an activist and involved in community efforts?
And what me and my friends, a few of my friends, we do giveaways. I am a part of a church. I am Christian. I do go to church faithfully every Sunday, and I just love to give. I love to help,
Hmm.
regardless of what it is. If it's my last dollar or it's some food someone needs. But I do food drives. We do toy drives for Christmas. We do sneaker drives. I myself host my own basketball tournament here in Jersey City for all ages, from the youth to just the adults, for everyone. And this first started in 2020 during the pandemic. My basketball league is actually called Locked In Basketball. The name came with being, with COVID and everything hitting hard in 2020, we were basically on lockdown. So I was
Hmm.
just sitting one day, and that's where the name came. Locked In Basketball. It, I had about 32 teams from. I had teams come from all over New Jersey, New York, Delaware, Virginia. So people actually travel up here to play during the pandemic.
Wow. Yeah.
And during that time, in the 3 year span that I've been doing it, there's been no fights. There's been no gun violence. There's been no stabbing. Nothing happened. Nothing that you'll see on the news to bring eyes and negative attention towards. So it's been strictly positive vibes only. Like, you have people that just see that enjoy watching the game of basketball. You see a different crowd every time. And the crowd that I drew close to most was the youth. The kids come
Hmm.
out and they watch, and they ask me, like, up until this day, everybody asks me, "Oh, we still doing the league?" Absolutely. It's just I haven't just been posting anything because I've just been so busy.
Yeah.
But I love helping out because if I would have had the guidance that I'm giving the children right now when I was growing up, it would be different. But I'm glad I really did it because now I have the knowledge to give to these kids. That
Sure.
I went down that wrong path at a time. But then it's not hard to straighten out your line and take a 360 and do what's right, fix everything. So that's what I did. And like right now, I'm a sixth grade math teacher. That wasn't my vision growing up.
Hmm.
So now I took that route, and it's just the kids. I just draw a lot of attention to kids, and I ask myself every day, what do these kids see in me that I don't? And I still to this day ask that question, and I need an answer from someone, like a genuine answer, because it could be a kid that I just met for an hour or 20 minutes, and we just draw a connection.
Hmm.
So it's just been, I just love my community. I'm familiar with everything. People see that people see that I've changed. So it's mind blowing now. So they're like, wow, I remember you used to be
Yeah.
this little bad kid running around doing this, that, and the third, but look at you now. And I
Yeah.
can't do
That's
anything but
awesome.
smile and Just keep going.
That's awesome. And I know that's and it's really cool to just see like the I think it's kind of like the effect that must have on people to kind of see that kind of success and see like, oh, I remember what you were like now, but like how you were then, but like look at you now, and it's probably such a hopeful like thing for a lot of people to kind of like see like all the great stuff that you're doing and thinking that, man, Coach Edwards is out there like doing all those things.
Yeah.
And do you have your guys, your players, do you have them get involved in the community, or have you in the past had them do any sort of community work?
Yes. Like when I just wouldn't even say my athlete, but
Hmm.
when kids from all over they see me doing something, everyone wants to be a part of it, and I just tell them, "Come on, if you guys want to help, come on." Like I love it. I even had some kids. They said they'd never been to church before. They started coming to church with me on Sundays, and that's the type of feel that the energy that I bring towards these kids, and they just want to start fresh. Everyone go through tough time. Like these kids could tell me their darkest secrets, and they won't even tell their parents. That's how deep of the connection that I have with these kids,
Yeah,
and it
and
just grew
transformative.
larger.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just been growing and growing day by day, week by week, and it's just a new group of kids that I meet every week.
Yeah, and I'm sure like that, that and I think what sounds really awesome about that experience is you kind of you share that experience with people, and then they probably spread that same positivity, and then it just kind of grows from there, and just as, you probably end up reaching maybe people you don't even meet because, you meet somebody who then spreads something to somebody else, and it just kind of grows from there.
Hmm.
No, that sounds awesome. Speaking about your basketball programs in the past, with this idea of kind of earning everything, what does that kind of look like in terms of how did that sort of culture, how did that sort of mindset kind of get built within your program?
Basically, just given an opportunity and just making the best out of that opportunity that you're given. Being that I actually started as a volunteer coach my first year, it grew, and they're like, "We want you to return next year. We want you to return next year." And then everybody just saying, "Oh, you're coaching now. We need you at this school. We need you here. We need you here." So to earn everything, nothing was ever given to me. Despite me growing up, the youngest of six, single mom, just working and doing it, nothing was ever just handed to me like,
Hmm.
you take this. Or my sister, being that I went to that high school, Lincoln High School, oh, you went here? Let's let you coach here. No, I had to earn it. Like I had to earn everyone's respect. I had to earn everyone's trust. So everything was earned. Like I worked hard. Like I have so much passion for this. This is my career now. I don't see myself doing anything else but being a basketball coach, being a mentor to these children, to these kids, because it's gonna get harder as the years go by with the diversity, the change in the community. Everybody see all these buildings going up. By the time they're ready to get their own apartment, they'll be paying probably $5,000 for a one bedroom.
Yes, yeah, yeah.
So it's just getting harder. So my mindset is always once you get, every morning I wake up and tweet another day, another opportunity, every day, because you have to earn everything. You did bad today, we're gonna fix it tomorrow. You did bad this week, you got another opportunity tomorrow. Each opportunity you have to take full advantage of it, regardless of if it's a 5 minute opportunity, like right now. With me and you having this conversation right now, I don't know where this will take me. I don't know where this will take you. Being that we're both here from two different sides and we have two different perspectives, with us two connecting right now, this opportunity, we may blow bigger and your platform may get bigger. My platform may get bigger. You
Right.
never know.
Right. No, you're 100% right. Like, you never, like you said, right? You never know where something could potentially take you, but you won't
Yeah.
know unless you go for it, right?
Hmm.
And and I get the sense, and I'll let you kind of add on to that. Thinking about the players that you've worked with, this is like a mentality or a belief that kind of had to be like built within them. This is something they kind of had to have sort of brought out of them. Maybe they didn't necessarily come to you with that mindset right away.
Mhm. Yeah,
What was that like?
all kids have different mindset. Like you have some kids that are very talented but still timid and shy at a time. But then you have those aggressors, like you have the dogs, and then you have the ones like for instance, you have like Kawhi Leonard when he plays, he doesn't show any emotion. You barely see him smile, you barely see him angry. You have those type of players. Then you have the players like Dylan Brooks who just go and go and go. Each different team that I work with, it was a different vibe of kids. Like you had each group was different.
Hmm.
So and then with teams, as a team, everyone had when practice and games, everyone's together. But then outside of the game, like the practice in school, everybody is broken up into their own sections. You got a group of 15 kids, but you have about 4 or 5 different groups. Because outside of school and basketball, no one has that connection. So I just told this guy, in order for you guys to build chemistry, it has to start outside of it, not just on the court, not just on school. You got to come together. So it was just they just they just fed off my energy. I I never tell someone what to do. I can give you the blueprint, but it's up to you to follow it.
So are you referring to like having your players kind of like get together like outside of a basketball and school setting and really come together in that way?
Yes, because it's much easier. Because when you're a unit, you get a bond, and a bond that can't be broken. Like team outings, just
Mm.
doing small things can help build the team's chemistry.
Yeah, and it's probably for them too. And you know, maybe I know I've had this experience where I've had players who, by being in those situations outside of school or outside of a basketball setting, they kind of interact with not only their teammates and get to know them, but they also are interacting with teammates who maybe have like a different personality than they do or a different
Yes,
mentality than they do, and they would never maybe interact with those type of people otherwise, but now they're in a situation where they are and kind of expanding their own horizons.
yes.
No, that's to me that's pretty incredible. And it sounds like your guys kind of come together like pretty early or came together right away and bonded pretty early in your coaching tenures.
Yes,
That's awesome.
absolutely.
And so was this something that you kind of laid out to them from right at the beginning and kind of let them know that this is what it's going to be, how it's going to be, or what was like the process of explaining like the importance of this to your players?
First, I observed before I speak on anything. I observe.
Hmm.
Like if I'm at a round table with about 10 guys, I'll be the last to speak because I just want to see everyone's thoughts and how everyone's energy is. So I just waited. I really once I got so for instance, I'll just use Snyder as an example because I this is the most recent school.
Hmm.
The guys, the seniors were there for 2 years. So I came on aboard this year. Everyone was seniors, so they already had some type of chemistry. Excuse me.
Hmm.
I wouldn't really say much in practice. I'll just sit back and observe and see how the kids will react to the coaches, being that I just got there. And I always told the other coaches that as well. I'm new here. I'm going to take the back seat until you guys give me the green light to say something. So then when I got the green light, I just started telling the guys, I got to come on. It's time to stop playing. You got to do this. You got to stop doing this. You got to stop doing this. How are we ever going to win a basketball game if you guys can't be serious? You practice how you play,
Yeah.
and it shows. We have a bad practice. You have a game. We play terrible. Saturday morning games were our worst games. Saturdays were not our days. Friday practices will be terrible and will lead into a Saturday, and they'll be horrible. We went about 1-7 on Saturday games. So That's how bad it was.
Yeah. So that
But
had to get changed right away.
absolutely.
And so what do you think was was it like kind of the practice structure changed, or the way that the players had to, change their approach to practice? What do you think had to change in that situation for them to sort of be ready and be ready to go on those Saturdays?
They just needed to start listening more, listening to what we tell them. Friday. It's Friday night. We understand you guys are kids. You want to be up, play the game, go outside, hang with your friends, this, that, and the third. But you have a game tomorrow. You guys need to rush your bodies because we usually end practice about 5:30, 6 o'clock on a Friday just so they could get home and get enough rest. But they didn't realize that until they started losing. Like, oh, they we see what they talk about now. You guys will
Yeah.
never be ready.
Yeah.
So they got it together real quick.
But but then that is kind of for it sounds like what had to change right there was kind of like that, like you said, right? That focus. And so I
Yeah.
imagine then kind of like the way that you were kind of running your practices and you're doing your practices, there was no real downtime. It sounds like you guys were probably had to be locked in, and there was no chance for them to like get off task or anything like that, right?
Yeah, and when they did, they had to run, and then you get the pouting, but then the running just had to. Then we had to just stop making them run because it wasn't working. So
Really?
then you guys don't want to listen. All right, you guys are gonna do it your way. Since you don't want to do it the coach's way, we're gonna try it. You guys could try it your way. Now in practice, they want to ask questions now. Coach, isn't the play supposed to be ran like this? Then everyone's just going through the motions, and it just looks like we're going through a walkthrough when we should be actually practicing.
Mm. So then that sounds like at that point, then it's like players started almost like figure it out, right? They started
Yeah.
to start to click a little bit, that like, wait a
Yep.
minute, like, and what was the for you, what was your kind of process of remaining like patient through that? Because I know that some coaches, when they're trying to especially change practice culture, like it's hard to sometimes remain patient, or they want to have it fix overnight. How long would you say it took for that practice culture to kind of get where you wanted it to?
I will say after the Christmas break, after the kids went on their break for Christmas and came back then the New Year, they started getting it together because we went on a terrible losing streak and they before the break and we just finally got it together. So I'll say about early January, first week of January. Once we got back from break, they were locked in because they
and
knew it was time. Playoff time was coming, so they had to get it together immediately.
and when that losing streak was going on, how it sounds like instead of your program kind of falling apart, or starting to blame one each other, it sounds like they kind of stuck together, and they just kind of persevered through it and didn't get too down on it and got refocused.
Yeah, like of course, every loss, someone's going to point the finger,
Yeah,
regardless
yeah,
of
yeah.
the matter. Someone's going to point the finger. During the losing streak, there was a lot of finger pointing, a lot of finger pointing. Then the actual players had a players meeting without the coaches
Oh, really? Wow.
about what they thought. I told them I don't even need to know what was said. You guys had a meeting on your own. You guys need to apply it. You guys decided to do this. So they did that, and it worked for probably about 2 weeks. Then we took another loss, and then we get the finger pointing again. But they never, with the finger point, it never got bad to where it was, we're gonna fall apart. Oh, you saying it's my fault? I'm not gonna do this anymore. They took positive criticism. They're like, all right, I'll make up in this area I did. If you say this is my fault, I wasn't rebounding tonight, next game I'm gonna rebound. I'm not shooting the ball well, I'm gonna get up more shots. So it was always a negative, always turned into a positive with these guys. No matter the finger point, it got them more hunger. With the way we were going with the loser streak, a lot of people had we were the underdogs, and they didn't even have us making it that far into the state playoffs.
Mm.
So all the naysayers. We proved them wrong. The only thing we didn't do was win a championship.
But it sounds like it sounds like with the group of guys that you have, the way that they were able to stick together and overcome things, and in many ways, coach, that can almost be more valuable than a championship when you see what your guys were able to do and not have a terrible mental like lapse and completely fall apart on each other.
Yeah, we were good.
Hmm. Yeah, no, that's great. You mentioned also about how you've talked a little bit earlier about how players have the opportunity to get better every day, and I was curious about what you and your coaching staff do or have done to kind of keep pushing your players to continue to improve and not hit that wall or not want like give up when a skill or something gets too difficult or when they think it gets too difficult rather.
For every day you get every day you step into the gym, I tell the guys, you get better every day you walk in here. Nothing you ever do will be the same. For instance, if you got to work on your ball handling, you're gonna do it so consistently. You're gonna do it every day. It's just gonna come natural. So you're gonna have the opportunity to get better. Whether we got to push you, whether we got to yell at you, do anything, you're gonna get better. But what really pushed the seniors this year, wanting to go to school for free, wanting to go to college for free.
Mm.
And that drove the kids to just figure it out. Let's make the best of this. This is how we're gonna do this. Like right now, we have four seniors right now. Well, we graduated nine, five, about three others didn't decide to play college basketball. One committed to Pace University to play football. And the other four have at least 10 to 12 offers just sitting on the table.
You got options, yeah.
So as the season went on, they progressed every day to get in the weight room, to eat healthy, and just work hard every day. Don't take anything for granted. You can't slow walk through practice and things like that. So when I say get better every day, you have the opportunity. When you're in the gym, regardless if you're in there for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour, 2 hours, you have the chance to get better, to elevate your game to the next level each time you step foot in that gym. As well, when you're on the court during a game, you had a bad game, you watch film and you study what you did wrong, and then you go back and you fix it. And that's basically what it was. Every time you step foot in the gym, that's time for you to get better. And that's what I mean by that. So every time you pick up that basketball, regardless of where you are, you're getting better. Even if you're dribbling in it, walking to the store, you're working on your handles. Something's getting better.
And it's like and I think for me sometimes, and I know that I've sort of had to reflect on that and make improvements on that in the past, is I know that sometimes with my players I've wanted them to get better at a certain pace or a certain rate and not appreciate even those days of like slower progress, because like you said, progress is progress. And I think as coaches, that'd be something good for us to recognize, is that just by the fact that they're in the gym, they have to be getting better at something. And even if it's you can't necessarily put a measurement on it or assume that in the next week they're going to be able to do X, Y, and Z. But like as long as they're working and as long as they're putting an actual effort in, they'll have to be getting better and they'll have to be improving just by the fact that they're being there.
Yes.
No, I think that's a good healthy outlook to have. Um, and you of course you mentioned about how you want your growth for your players to go beyond just being a player. So I know you mentioned it earlier, but I'll give you an opportunity to expand or add to your answer at all about what are some opportunities or ways that you encourage your guys to grow as people and not just as growing on the court.
Just outside of basketball, you gotta hold everyone accountable for their actions, regardless of what it is. If you're failing this class, that's your fault. So you gotta take advantage of not take advantage. You gotta hold yourself accountable for
Mm-hmm.
what's going on. Like I tell the kids, I tell them my story about my past growing up, being that bad. I call myself a delinquent, being that delinquent growing up, just being If you've seen the movie Problem Child, I was Junior growing up. That was me. And I tell the
Mhm.
kids like, I've I've been there. So what I'm telling you is from experience. And this is a quote that I stick to every day. Experience is the best teacher.
Mhm.
Having an experience going through getting in trouble in school every day, failing, having to sit, not being eligible to play, everyone doubting you. You just have to hold yourself accountable for everything, regardless if it's good or bad. You got to hold yourself accountable. And accountability is one of my biggest things. So outside, kids go to parties, they hang out, go to the movie, they got their little girlfriends and stuff like that. Because those are some of the things that sidetrack the guys the most. The video games, the social media, the music, and the girls.
Yep.
So just wanting them to grow, you got to look outside of everything, of just being a basketball player for once. Because always remember, you're a student athlete. You're a student first. And other than that, there's life after basketball. Because what if basketball don't plan out for you? What's your next move?
Yeah.
What's the next move after basketball if it don't work out? And that's what I thought for myself. I didn't have just the A, B, and C plan. I filled out the whole alphabet. And I stopped probably about at letter K or L with basketball. And that's with coaching to be exact. And then just like, this is what I want to do. This is my passion now. You got to find your passion, something you enjoy doing. You can't it's like people out here just want to work right now. So they just want to go to McDonald's and they don't like the job, but they're there because they need the money. You got to go somewhere and you're happy because you're going to just stress yourself out, staying in an uncomfortable environment and you're not happy. It's like being in a relationship. You're not happy. You're just sticking around because you've been together for 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, that doesn't end well. No,
It,
that's
it,
that's
it
not
doesn't.
healthy.
You got to find your passion. You got to find something that makes you happy.
Hmm. And
And the,
I think for a lot of guys, and a lot of girls who I've coached, I think that's a difficult journey. That's a long journey for them because I don't know if a lot of our players have really ever thought about that. We talk a lot about with players and kind of their short-sighted goals are the things they want immediately, but maybe not necessarily like long-term the things that are going to bring them that fulfillment. And I think that
yeah,
that could be a real eye-opening conversation for players because if you ask them, they might not have a lot of answers for you at all.
yeah,
And so
absolutely.
it sounds like what you're talking about is you're really having your players kind of think about that and maybe and I'll let you speak to that for the first time maybe they've really thought about that.
Yeah, because you have to think about life. Because when you go to college and when you go on that campus, you're alone,
Yeah,
regardless if you're with your roommate or not. Mom and dad isn't there anymore. The
it's on you.
people,
It's on
your
you.
your grandma, it's you. Like I told these kids, I said, for your first 2 months of college, when you move into your dorm and everything, I said, mom is gonna fill that dorm room up with snacks, everything you need, your tissue, your laundry detergent, your toothpaste. I said, but those 2 months, she's gonna do all of that. They're gonna get all of that done. After that, it's gonna start chopping down. It's gonna be little and little. It's gonna be little and little. She's not gonna. It's gonna be on you now. She's gonna say, you're on your own now. You, it, I could send you $2, but you ain't gonna get all of this.
Hmm.
And I, that's how it was for me as well. I just speak everything based off of experience, and you have to learn because once basketball season's over, it's either you're gonna get a job, keep working out, or do something. Your mom will tell you she ain't gonna keep giving you money, so go get a job while you at school. And when you in school, you can do an internship or something to help you get a little couple dollars, or work at a school store or bookstore just to make some more money, just to come in so you can be fine. But life is gonna get hard once you're not under mom and dad anymore.
Yeah, and they're gonna have to and then
Adjust.
it's a huge adjustment I think for some of them to really have to rely on themselves is maybe not something that they're 100% used to and
Hmm.
having to be like self-reliant or be able to, you know, go and like you said, kind of find those opportunities or kind of learn how to you know, kind of make it on your own. And I think that that's kind of one of the beauties of basketball and just coaching in general is hopefully we as coaches are kind of letting our players know and providing opportunities for them to, you know, speak up and work hard and develop that work ethic and be able to be leaders so that when they do go out to college and they are on their own, they've had opportunities to kind of grow as people and grow as leaders. So at least that's my hope. You know, I haven't heard any horror stories back from my girls yet who are off in college. So at least that's what I hope I'm doing out there. Um, I was curious just on the basketball court sense, when you think about what you like to run as a coach on the court, what do you like to run as a coach and how much of that do you think kind of goes into your culture? Like because of the culture that you have, how does that kind of tie into what you're able to kind of do on a basketball court?
Honestly, me as a coach, I love defense. I
Mm-hmm.
love defense. So 70, I'll say anywhere from 60 to 75% of our point come from defense. Offensive, I run 5 offensive plays. Everything else is just read and react, pass and cut, pass, screen away, off ball screens, pick and roll, basic that way. I love defense. The pressure. Only way we'll really run a set is probably off tip off, or if a team is sitting in the zone the entire game. But other than that, everything is coming off defense. I really don't like. I love running a high ball screen or a handoff and two or three handoffs. Third or second handoff. You read it. You can go into a ball screen, the fake handoff, or go to the basket. I really don't like running plays because when you put too much into a system, like way too many plays, kids tend to forget. And
Mm-hmm.
they always, when you run plays, there's never just one option. There's 5 options because there's 5 people on the court. They always pay attention to option one because then if you don't get option one, they're going to break down and just pull the ball out and probably run the play again. And that's why I don't like running too many plays or having too many sets. I honestly run for the years I've been coaching. I ran the same 5 plays, the same 5.
Really?
I haven't changed anything. The same 5 plays. I just
And
change the name every year.
and that's it, when you go into a program or new spot, I'm sure for your players, that's kind of is that a big of adjustment for them to have to get used to something like that?
Yes, because then they it gives them a chance to take more pride on defense. Because if you continue to continuously turn the team over, force them to miss shots, get out and run, push the ball, and we score and we score and we score. Next thing you know, we're up 20 points,
Mm-hmm.
and the game just comes easier. It's just natural. Now it's a natural instinct. We are playing hard defense, and I always coaches know you when coaches come to recruit you, they already know you can score the ball because they seen it or they heard or they checked stats. They know you can score the ball. But let's see what you could do on the defensive end. Let's see how you are as a team player. Let's see how you encourage your teammates, how you are on the bench, how you react to bad officiating or coaches yelling at you or you getting fouled in the game. Just your body language.
Mm-hmm.
So, but and the culture, I only run 5 plays. I take pride in defense a lot because some kids really don't know how to play defense and they get beat and they rely on the next man to help them. So I'm really big on defense. Offense was never really my thing, but I know I have a few quick hitters, things like that. I have plays. Don't get me wrong. I have plays I can always put in, but it's just let's just take pride in defense because if
What
a team can't guard us rebounding and pushing the ball, in a half court set, we could just run something small and then just play basketball out of that.
what do you think what do you think a coach needs to do to make sure that the culture is right so that a team understands the importance of defense? What does a coach have to do to make sure that the guys know that defense is a must and it has to be done right?
Yeah, like I just stated. If you want to be a great basketball player, you have to defend. You can't just score. Basketball is not a
Hmm.
one-sided sport. Like when you play football, you could be a linebacker. A linebacker can't play offense. Basketball is a two-sided sport where you play offense and defense. You have to.
Yeah.
You got to give something. So that's why you hear you have the two-way players, or you have these lockdown defenders that can score the ball, or you got these people that can score the ball but can defend as well. You have to learn how to defend. Offense is okay, but if you could defend, I guarantee any coach will pick a defender over someone that just wants to get 25, 30 points a game.
Yeah.
Because in high school, you could average your 30 points. When you get to college, that 30 is getting cut in probably like 70. You'll be probably averaging 11 or 12 points, depending on where you're playing at. It
I
gets
was
harder
no,
because then
to your point. I was gonna say real quick to your point about how little in college a lot of times you touch the ball compared to maybe what you would have in high school, how many touches you
uh-huh.
even get. So you don't get as many opportunities to even score when you get the ball. So you better be doing defense because that's what you're gonna be doing
Yes.
a lot more, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And
Defend and just run the floor. Transition basketball.
mhm. It's I think that also to your point too is that I think about things like on social media and everything about how on highlight films or things that people post highlights on, it tends to always be offense anyway. So to your point, I was thinking about that most of these scouts or most of these people watching probably already know about the offensive stuff because that's what people's highlight reel and highlight tapes mostly are anyway.
Hmm.
So the importance then of that defense is an important. And so do you work on defense? Is that something that comes up like every practice, or where does
Yes,
defense kind
that's
of fit in?
the,
What do you kind
the
of do on that end?
defense. Defense starts automatically soon as practice starts. We're gonna stretch. We're gonna get a little conditioning in. Straight to defense. I love my biggest my I love a 2-2-1 press.
Okay. What do you
I
like
love
about
it the
it?
most. So the way I do it, I don't know if most coaches do it. I don't know if you ever heard of this, but in my 2-2-1 press, I do a matchup 2-2-1 press.
Okay.
And I tell my guys, don't back up. We're gonna start from the free throw line, but you don't back up. Because once you don't back up, you have the offensive team looking, oh, these guys not moving. Because the more we back up, the more opportunity you're giving them to get up the court. So if we don't back up, they have to make a decision. How fast are they going to move the ball? Or are they going to just try to hit a home run pass to get it up
Mm-hmm.
over the court? But we got the safety guy in the back that could tip it off. That's what we want. So that's what I love it. I love a 2-2-1 press.
And so is that like every practice? Are you working on that in some way or some form or fashion? Is that always something that you're refining or drilling or working on? That's
Yes, like pressuring the ball, actually sitting in a defensive stance, not sliding, not galloping, really sitting, guarding the ball without fouling. Yes, you'll get some contact, but pressuring the ball is and it's another one of the things I love the most. You have to pressure the ball. You can't let someone be too comfortable with dribbling in your face. Pressuring defensive pressure. That's why I'm just big on defense. I wish I had someone here that could just explain it and how bad it is in practice when we go defense. Defense is more. I do defense more in practice than offense
yeah.
because you have to defend.
And it, and especially with like I'm just thinking about how, you know, you can have a lot of great offensive sets or offensive ideas, but at the end of the day, if you kept getting beat or getting run off the court on the other end, it doesn't really matter what type of system or what type of offense you want to run if you're, always down 20 or down 25 because you're not able to defend anyone.
Yep,
Yeah.
absolutely.
When it comes, I was thinking about the whole idea of earning everything, and I know a lot of coaches are really big on their practices being competitive and having to compete with one another. Is that a facet of your practices at all, or where does competition kind of fit into what you like to do in a practice setting?
And practice, yeah, we compete a lot, whether it's running, whether if it's spot 5 spot shooting where you'll break the group to 15 you have or 14, however many kids you have. on each side, and you just make 10 shots from each spot as a group. So we compete because when you compete, you got to earn your minutes. That's how you earn your minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Competing in practice. No matter how talented you are, you have to earn it. It's not given to you. Just like this is called earn everything. You have to earn it. Regardless how talented you are, you have to earn your minutes. You see all these good NBA players. Like you still see, for instance, the New York Knicks, Evan Fournier. He can play basketball, and what he did before everything in that Knick culture happened. And he's upset because he know what he could bring to the table, but you have to earn it. I'm not sure what goes on in their practice facility, but everything is earned. Nothing is really given to you. For instance, Jalen Brunson, everybody say he was terrible with Dallas. He went to New York and showed out.
Yeah, yeah.
He
Took that
earned it.
opportunity.
And
Yeah.
when people get when they start getting the big contracts and they're giving these players money now, they're understanding he earned that.
Mm-hmm.
Just like the Lakers. Nobody thought the Lakers were going to get this far. They earned everything. They're earning it. They're putting the time in and everything to earn what they want. Like for instance, your platform right now, you earned everything. Nobody handed anything to you. You got this because of how you approach your situation with your podcast and everything, and how you built your fan base.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is really earned. That's how it's the way of life right now. You have to earn everything. You can't just get it. If it's handed to you, that means it wasn't. I honestly believe if something is handed to you, it wasn't very genuine because you have people out here working hard, doing everything they can to get where they want to be, but it's just given to you because oh, his dad went to school with my dad, and we have history, so they want to try to keep it in the family.
Right, right, right.
And that's why I could say, for the most part, where I have been turned down a few head coaches position because somebody already knows this guy that's already coming. Like everyone's telling me, you're gonna get it, but it's just who you know. Who do I know that's gonna help me get this position? I
Right.
don't want that because it's just like, oh, we gave it to him because we know him. He vouched for you. The vouching is okay, but I don't want it to seem like I begged or I asked someone to do me like a favor. I don't like favors. I don't like owing anybody anything.
Mm-hmm. It,
That's basically it.
yeah, you wanna make sure that to your point, right, that a position that you take or a job that you get, it's because like that they wanted you because of the way that you did in that interview or the way that your resume speaks to yourself, not because people think like, oh, it's just because they knew someone and now you're kind of starting off with people doubting you to begin with.
Yes.
Yeah, and so I imagine then I'm just thinking back into a basketball sense then that when it comes to playing time and the minutes that your players get, I assume earn everything is something that is communicated to them.
Yes.
So when you think about your playing time, what goes into that decision about how much playing time somebody gets? And I guess how many guys did you kind of run? What kind of rotation or how deep of a rotation did you run this past year?
I'll say for the most part, I'll say nine deep, nine
Hmm.
on a 15 man roster, nine.
And
And
go
yep.
ahead. I was asking about. Now I'm curious about what was the process for those nine to make sure they earned those minutes. What was the expectation?
So out of that nine, at least seven were seniors. Seven were seniors. And it wasn't that they played because they were seniors. It was they were engaged. They worked hard at practice because they knew this is our last year of high school basketball. We got to do something. All even like the juniors, the sophomores, and freshmen, they still put the work in, but the seniors did it differently. Like you felt it when they were engaged.
Hmm.
So and with the minutes like that, I want to just There was one kid, Samir Jordan, wonderful point guard for us, that played the entire game. Not for the fact that he was so talented. He just worked hard every possession. But when he's tired, he doesn't want to come out the game. But he said he always told me if I come out the game, I'm gonna get tired and I'm gonna lose focus. Only he said only time I really want to rest is if we call timeout. I don't need a substitution. But this kid worked so hard. You saw the passion that he had. Tired, he's still going 100%, 100%. You can see it in his face. But it's
Yeah,
just about how hard you're gonna work.
and yeah, it's like once you get on the court, like you don't want anyone telling you to come off once you've earned that opportunity to come on it.
Absolutely.
And I mean, I think if we could have a group of 10, 12, 15 guys or girls who had that mentality, who you had to, who didn't want it, who never wanted to be subbed out and would fight for everything. I mean, just imagine how much success a coach could have if they had all players who were like that. No, that's
Mhm.
that's that's really cool. That's really great. I was curious, as we start to wind down a little bit about some advice. What would be some advice you would give to maybe a new coach who's kind of stepping into this coaching role for the first time and is really trying to get their culture to be the way that they want it to be? What would you kind of tell that coach they need to, you know, do or be aware of so that their culture is going to be a positive and a good thing?
The only thing I can say truthfully,
Hmm.
you have to grow a bond with your players. Not on a friendship level, not just understand where they're coming from. Just listen to them at time. Excuse me.
Hmm.
You have to have a bond. You gotta have a bond with your guys. Like you gotta be close. And I think that's what it is with me. I have a bond with everyone. Regardless if I coach you or not, the bond will make them trust you even more. The closer you guys are, the easier it'll be for them to listen and understand. Because if you don't have that bond, if you have one of those knucklehead kids that mouth off and everything, you and him are going to be going back and forth all the time.
Yeah.
So you just have to get that bond, and you have to let them know what it is from the jump. What are your expectations and their expectations. One thing with me, I ask my guys, what do I after every game I text my group chat of guys and I ask, what do I need to do to become a better coach?
Mm.
Every game, whether we win or lose, what can I do to be better? And one thing that stood out to me, they told me, Coach, when you yell, they say we understand you're not yelling at us, but it's just the way you just yell. You're just in a moment. And I said, thank you. And those things like that you need. You need positive and negative feedback so you can become a better individual as a person and as a coach as well. And I think that's what helped me grow as a coach. Just listening to my players and just having that bond with them. So that's
Yeah.
all I will encourage the coach to do. Just get a great relationship with your players.
And you got to be, as a coach, I think, and you could speak to this, right? You got to be willing and able to accept that, constructive feedback, and that if you want to get better and you want to have that trust with your players and you want to hear things about what you can do better, you got to be able to take the things that they say and not take it personally or not, push back on it and be willing to accept some of the critiques or some of the advice that your players might give you. And that can be hard sometimes, I know.
Hmm.
Yeah, that could be tough, but
Yeah, it is at times, but once they get it together, then everything will be all right.
yeah, no, no, definitely for sure. That's awesome. To wrap up, Coach, there's a couple questions I ask every guest. I'm going to go ahead and start with this first one, and I'm sure you might have a lot of different moments you could look back on. But what is a moment from your coaching career, looking back on it, that you think the others listening right now would be able to learn from?
That's tough. That's a tough
Hmm.
question. That's a tough one.
I'm sure there's a lot of moments out there too, huh?
The one I I think the moment that changed my perspective on basketball was when I played against Oak Hill Academy in
Okay.
in 2020. I'll get so basically I don't. I never discredit a coach for anything. Oak Hill is a great program. It's been for years. Coach Steve Smith, a great guy. But when I went up and played against Oak Hill, I tell this story faithfully. We lost to Oak Hill by 80 points. I tell the guys like this was a 32-minute game, 8 minutes a quarter, and we lost by 80 points. And I said, till this day, those kids, despite of the score, still play hard. My guys and Oak Hill as well. Regardless of the score, they played. They were still engaged. Regardless of the score, even though it was a blowout, what took it to me was he don't care. These kids don't care. It's not a bad thing. Well, I didn't take it as nothing negative, but I used it as motivation. We just lost by 80 points, but they didn't give up. They didn't stop playing because they were up 40 points. Then it was 60 to finish the game to win by 8. I take pride in like my culture mindset change. Like they put you always hear you could take the first punch, but they just kept punching
Yeah,
and kept
yeah.
punching and kept punching and put their foot on our neck and still was punching. And I take that and I say, look, these kids are passionate about it. These coaches know there wasn't any what the beauty of it was there weren't any trash talking from the Oak Hill players. Despite being up that much and just playing basketball, it wasn't any trash talking. But I take that as a lesson, like take it as motivation to never lose by that much again, to never see myself in that position again.
Mm-hmm.
But that was one of that year. After we lost that game that year to Oak Hill, I went on a 15-game winning streak after that because of just I was just angry that just happened, and that just changed my whole mindset on basketball. And
And
another moment is just I really people surprise me every day. It's just I can go on and on about it. I'm just not even gonna get into it.
what would you say changed, like when you said you went on that winning streak after that Oak Hill experience? What did you change something immediately after, or what immediately happened after that that you think kind of led to racking off that win streak that you did?
My entire mindset on coaching. That was my first game I head coached. That was my first head coaching game. So you think about even though I was an assistant prior, I wasn't a head coach. I didn't really stand up and coach a game and run this. My first official game as a head coach was against Oak Hill
Oak Hill.
Academy. So just being in the atmosphere was I was like, wow, I can't believe I'm here. And I just after that, I said that's never gonna happen again. I told that can never happen again.
Hmm.
I said they didn't care. So now we don't care either. I told her, I don't care if we're up 30 points. Keep going. I'm not stopping. Go. Go. Because they did it to us. So let's do it to somebody else. But when it gets to about 2 minutes and you know that last couple minutes, just relax. Don't try to embarrass anyone. We're
Yeah,
up
yeah,
now.
yeah.
Let's just run the clock. Let's just run the clock now. But my mindset just changed because Coach Steve was just like, go. He just told him go. And that's what I just tell my guys now. Go. Because if the shoe was on the other foot and they was doing it to us, they wouldn't stop.
No,
So
no.
it's
And
we gotta go.
and
We have to.
it's kind of that almost kind of that respect for the game, that right, that you're kind of
Yes.
still working hard and you're still going after it and everything like that. And I
Hmm.
mean, what I really what kind of admired about that story, as you mentioned, right, is that all the players they were super respectful still working hard, and it was it almost, I can imagine in some ways, it just kind of didn't even look at the scoreboard and they were just out there playing and doing their best.
Hmm.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. To wrap up, Coach, I give every guest kind of what I call like a 60-second or so, but I'm not going to time you, like a 60-second soapbox. And it's kind of like a platform just to kind of leave the listeners with like a final message, a closing thought, just some idea or message that you want to leave them with. And you can take it any way that you want or any direction that you want. I just want to kind of give you that platform to kind of leave a parting message with our listeners. So, Coach, I'm just going to kind of give you the floor here, and I'm just going to kind of let you take it from here.
Basically, to any coaches, players that are listening, never give up on anything, regardless of how hard life gets. I always tell myself, once I accept that life is hard, everything will start to become easier. The game of basketball will become hard. The game of life will become hard. Every day, it will be something new. Take on any challenge, accept any opportunity that's given to you, and just guide. If you have kids, guide your kids. Let them know you got to be 100% with your kids. Be open. Be vocal with your kids. Have an understanding with them. I don't really get too much into basketball because there's life after basketball. Because if it don't work out, kids got to have a different option. But I really don't even know what to say, but because I think I said everything enough and I hit everything on the nose. But just take advantage of every opportunity. And that's about it.
Love it.
And if you guys want to reach out to me, you can via Twitter. Coach K. Edwards, I'm on Twitter. And you can ask me anything you want. Coach, I appreciate you for having me. It was a great experience, a great talk. And yeah, that's about it.
Well, I appreciate you coming on, Coach, and talking about kind of not just basketball wise, but just kind of beyond basketball, all the great, insights and tips, and just the idea of, like you said, earning everything, making the most of each day, taking every day as a new opportunity to getting better. And appreciate you coming on, and best of luck with whatever decision you're making towards your future. I know you got some options there on the table, and
Yes.
best of luck to you, and go get after it wherever it is that you go, Coach. I look forward to kind of following that journey. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you.
And thank you so much for listening. This was another edition of the Basketball Teacher Podcast, and we will see you guys next time.
Thank you for listening to another edition of the Basketball Teacher Podcast. Make sure to connect with us on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter, or reach us directly through email at basketballteacherpodcast@gmail.com. Take care, be safe, and we'll see you next time.